I don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the morning show. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for
Why'd you say it like that?
The morning show.
He doesn't know whether he wants to be German or English.
or French. Somewhere in the middle there. Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in as you do every week. We appreciate you. Do follow this YouTube page and help us grow this little community over here. Actually, not so little anymore. Over 40,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel and a pretty active Patreon. You should head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. Exclusive content over there that I'm sure you will love. Poseidon controlling the board as he always does. The Poseidon 69. I'm Poseidon.com. Before me, ladies and gentlemen, Montreal broadcasting legend Ted Bird, one half of Standing By the Terry and Ted podcast, with another great episode that launched this morning. If you haven't watched it, don't watch it now. Watch us now. And then after you're done, you can go watch that one with Dr. Cleve Ziegler.
That's right. If you're at work, quit your job and watch all of our podcasts. Dr. Cleve Ziegler, the Director of Gynecology at the Montreal Jewish General Hospital, an OBGYN of more than 30 years experience, and a very nice and very funny man.
He's the best. Yeah. He delivered both of my daughters. I wouldn't go anywhere else but the Jewish hospital, and we were lucky and privileged to have him as a doctor. He's the best.
And it's a good episode. It's he's an interesting guy. He's well spoken and
he's funny.
He's very funny.
Oh my God.
I challenge you to find another podcast that in an hour and 15 minutes covers childbirth, vaginal reconstruction, Auschwitz, because he comes from a family of Holocaust survivors.
About the Holocaust,
What else did we talk about? We talked about transgender, the science of transgenderism.
Mm-hmm. And you spoke also about the state of our health system.
Yes, and we spoke at some length about that.
And private versus public.
Cleve was very candid in his opinions, and his opinions obviously come from a place of knowledge and credibility. So I thought it was, I said when I posted it this morning on social media, I said of the 60 plus episodes we've done of the Terry and Ted podcast, that one's top 5 to me.
Really?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, you guys have had a lot of good episodes, great guests, but it was a fantastic. I heard it. I listened to it this morning, and I didn't know that he was from Toronto.
Yeah. I grew up in Toronto,
and he prefers Montreal.
He does. Yeah. And his French is way better than mine.
Yeah.
Mind you, I didn't grow up here. Not that that's an excuse. He grew up in Toronto, and as he mentioned on the podcast, he married into Montreal medical royalty. He married Josie Gold, who is the daughter of Dr. Phil Gold, who is a pillar of the Montreal medical community. I think Cleve said on the podcast that there's a new cancer facility.
He said in June this year it's going to be inaugurated,
and it's going to be named after his father-in-law, Dr. Phil Gold.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and he says Dr. Gold is the most humble, unassuming guy that you would ever meet. Cleve's wife. I don't know if you've.
No, I've never met her.
I don't know if she wasn't in the delivery room too when your daughters were born. He didn't bring his wife.
No. Hi, good to meet you.
It's my wife.
She brings
Josie.
She brings cupcakes to his patient.
She's at least as funny as he is.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
she's a real pistol, Josie. Yeah. So it's a good episode. I hope you get a chance to check it out after you watch this one. Watch this one. Go on your lunch break, quit your job, and then watch Standing By.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Poseidon?
Yes.
You good?
Yeah.
What do you, just out of curiosity, because every week we look over, because we want you to participate a little bit, and you're just looking at your phone.
Oh, it depends. Sometimes it's emails.
Porn.
You ruined my punchline, bro. I was gonna get to that.
We all knew.
How was the live recording last night?
Yo, it was a lot of fun.
Minimum.
Oh, shit, I wanted to go to that.
I tried and it was sold out.
It was,
yeah.
eh?
So remember we had spoken about it.
Yeah.
But like an idiot, I was looking for tickets on Sunday night or Saturday. I can't remember, and it was sold out.
Sorry, Poseidon, I cut you off.
No, it's fine. It was a great episode. People had a lot of fun. Yeah, you should have been there.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
It's crazy how fast those tickets.
No, don't.
Those tickets go. Eh?
I'm just messing around. But yeah,
how fast did it sell out?
dude? Anything that revolves Mike.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
Well, he sold out the Bell Center, so
Yeah.
he's going to sell out a comedy club pretty quick.
Yeah, you don't understand. Anything that revolves around Mike is it's instant.
Yeah.
You blink and it's gone.
I always use the excuse with Pantelis. I'm like, hey, dude, do you want some shots? I can come and take some pictures. He goes, yeah, sure. So I just walk in and say, yeah, I'm Pantelis' photographer, just because there's never any tickets and I just want to see the show. And I do take pictures, so it's not like I'm there just doing nothing.
Did you set up in one of the two showrooms at the Bordel?
Yeah, Bordel 2.
The two, that's where the English show.
Okay,
Is that
so
bigger
how many
or
people will
smaller?
that sit?
That's a good question. About a couple hundred?
Yeah, that many, eh?
No. It's about 120, 130 around there.
About
maybe?
there.
No wonder
Yeah,
it
about
sold
there.
out fast then.
Yeah, about there.
Is it small? Is it bigger or smaller than the other one, the French, where he does the French thing?
It's roughly the same size. I think it's a bit bigger. I think it seats the same, but they made it a bit bigger. But it seats the same, so people can like move.
Yeah.
So it's not as tight. You know what I mean?
It's a very nice club.
Yeah, it's a great
super
club.
nice club.
How's the dynamic for
It
a
may
podcast?
be the best club we have in Quebec, by the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised
Well,
either.
it's- I think it's owned by Mike.
Actually, it is. I've been to a lot.
Well, it's built
It is.
by comics,
Comedians,
right?
yeah. I think
Comedians.
Mike and 4 or 5 other comedians own it, right?
exactly,
So
yeah.
so they put the place together.
Yeah.
They know how to
Exactly.
put a room
Exactly.
together
Yeah.
to maximize the atmosphere for comedy. How is it for a podcast?
Oh,
How's
fantastic.
the dynamic? Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I think people are used to it because he records his live next door, right, on the the French one.
I think he does it in 2 now because when they set up the 2, they set it up properly because the first one wasn't set up for the cameras properly.
Oh, right.
Like they had to kind of like MacGyver it, but now the second one they set it up for the cameras in mind, so they have all the rails and everything in place. So
Weren't you guys at one point just doing it in another room at the club, like not one of the showrooms, but a sort of like a back room kind of
there's
thing?
there's another studio.
Yeah. So and so now have you moved it full time into one of the showrooms?
No.
for
They
the
always
audience?
record. I think it's upstairs, right?
don't know.
The stand. Fucking losing my words
I
this
don't know
morning.
what's in store for the future, but there's a few surprises coming along. I can't say more.
No, but to answer your question, the studio that they do the 2DM is upstairs. I think that's where they always go, and then time to time they do the live ones downstairs at the club.
Yeah. Are you the full time producer of that show?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Speaking of the bordel, let's just
Only when it's live, we have Chuck. Like when it's in front of an audience, Chuck does it because he's used to the setup.
Oh, okay. So what do you do?
I just sit there and say.
Are you part of the show still?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I'm the nonsense voice from the ether.
Okay.
I'm like the Wizard of Oz.
You're behind the curtain?
Minus all the mastermind.
All right.
Speaking of the bordel, another plug. June 4th, Pantelis' Hour in French. It's at the bordel. He's doing it, right? So head on over to Pantelis' website, get your tickets, or you can get them straight from the bordel's website. And that promises to be something really cool and funny. I'm going to try and be at that one, though. I'm going to try and get a couple guys together.
I bet you will.
I will.
Together. In a sauna.
Ted, I was driving in this morning and I was wondering if you still wake up early in the morning.
I do. I woke up at
this point, it's just automatic.
3:30 this morning.
God.
And couldn't get back to sleep.
Damn, that's the body.
Isn't it crazy?
Well, I think being old is part of it, or older.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens with old folks.
But also years of the radio.
Yeah, well, I got up in the middle of the night for 40 years.
Exactly.
So
that's a 40-year-old habit that you have to break. That's not easy.
Well, what happens a lot now is I'll wake up at like 3:30, and I'll get up for an hour or two and watch TV or porn, or do some social media, and go back to bed and fall back asleep, and then get up at 8 or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
But yet, short answer to the question is, I still wake up in the middle of the night
God,
all the
damn.
fucking time. Yeah.
You think that eventually is
At least I'm waking up.
That's a good news. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That's fun.
There is so much to talk about, even from last week and especially this week. Last week we took it a little bit easy. Your son was on. We didn't want to really go into politics. Luckily for him, he's not that engaged.
It's not his thing. It's not,
and it's good. I mean,
I think it's good too, because he doesn't get all fucking wound up like I do.
man, it's just noise.
Yeah.
But a lot has been happening. Where do you want to start?
I think we have to start with McGill and the student protests.
Yeah.
The student protests at McGill and across the U.S. And, and where do you start when you start with that? And I don't know what to say.
I'll tell you, I think as soon as they started to put up those camp settlements or whatever, the encampments on the campuses in the U.S., I thought, look, it's going to come to Montreal. It's going to come to Canada for sure.
Yeah.
Is McGill the first university that is happening to in Canada?
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah.
So again, no surprise.
By the way, sorry, Ted. Julien, Cool J, Cool J. Jesus Christ, what a name! He saw you at Walmart in Pointe Claire.
Why didn't he say hi? Or did he?
God damn it, Julien!
Maybe he did.
Say hi. I've been getting that a lot. Like I was at Mike's show at Club Soda. And then I'm walking around and people would see me and then they do a double take with the big eyes. And then I realized, they recognize me from the podcast. Just come say hi.
Yeah, that's always nice when people say to me, hey, didn't you used to be Ted Bird?
Yeah.
The only thing is,
Ted Bird?
Ted won't rob you. I might.
That's what my ex-wife once said to me. I liked it better when you were Ted Bird. And then she became my ex-wife.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's very sad.
But yeah, McGill. So I knew that I expected it to happen. So just to get everyone kind of up to speed, this isn't just McGill students. It's in collaboration with the Concordia students as well. Everyone is
and outside influences.
There's always outsiders,
yeah.
that are coming on. How long have they been on campus? They started their campus late last week, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's been close to a week now.
Yeah.
And McGill has, you were telling me this morning on the way here in the car, McGill has decided to ask the police to intervene. Yeah. And the last I read, the police were in the process of determining exactly how.
The police went on site yesterday. I don't know if anything happened because they were waiting on the court to decide on an injunction that 2 students filed to get them removed.
These are 2 Jewish students.
I don't know if they were Jewish students.
I think they are. I think they're Jewish students who feel threatened and unwelcome on their own campus, and so they have filed that.
Now, just so we can, clarify our position, I have nothing against people demonstrating. I think we've said that hundreds of times on the podcast. The problem I have is, one, when it's inciting violence, hatred, and all those things. And secondly, when it bothers other people from doing what they want to do, right? And that's the issue I think we spoke about when we're talking about the convoy. I don't have an issue with them being there in the thousands or tens of thousands or however many they were. The issue I had was that they were disrupting, the other people's
the day-to-day lives of Ottawa residents.
So that's the issue that I had with them, even though they weren't violent or they weren't causing any damage.
And they weren't inciting violence
exactly.
either.
This time, I think there's a little bit of both. So you have students that, well, maybe not in McGill, but in the U.S., they barricaded themselves in one of the facilities. I can't remember the name. They put fence.
I think it's Hamilton Hall. At Columbia.
Yeah, so they blocked students from accessing their classrooms.
Yeah.
We heard that I don't know if it was Columbia or another university that converted everything to online again. Why? To accommodate the fucking idiots that are blocking your students?
Yeah, you're just you're encouraging the mob.
You know what I mean?
When you
What do you
acquiesce to them, you're encouraging them.
So you have that happening at McGill. The one thing that I didn't see our media over here reporting on was that there is hateful messages that I saw and that people that I know saw. Media isn't reporting on that. The only thing that they're saying is like, oh, well, it's not really hateful. Nobody's chanting, down with the Jews or you should die or from the river to the sea or any of that stuff. Nobody's chanting that. But it's on posters. Like, people send me pictures and it says it, Intifada until victory or whatever it says.
Yeah, it's implied.
And of course it is, right?
Heavily.
So, yeah. So that has no place. And if you want to demonstrate, why are you on private property? You want to build an encampment? Go to the sidewalk. It's not my business. Why are you on my property? It's private school property.
Yeah. They block any of the bridges?
No.
No,
not that I.
So there haven't been any major, because I think in the States, in some parts of the States, there have been major disruptions.
I remember a while back in Toronto, they went on that. What is it? The 401 or whatever it was. They had blocked a ramp going onto the. What do you call it? It's the 401, right?
The one that goes east-west across the top of the city? Yeah, that's the 401. Yeah.
So they had blocked one of those ramps. But this is a while back. I think it was before. It was late last year. In any case, like you said, McGill has called in the cops to clear their campus. I don't know if anything happened yesterday. I'm assuming that by the end of the week, they'll probably clear the campus. I'm hoping things happen peacefully, because from the interviews that I've been listening to, the students that have allowed the media to question them, because a lot of them were very violent also towards the media that were on site as well. And they said that we're not going to leave. Our goal is to stay here until this issue is resolved.
Until their demands are met. And their demands, if I understand correctly, are for McGill to divest itself of any investment in or involvement with any company or any business that is affiliated with Israel.
Yeah. How ridiculous is that? When you think of McGill, there's many things that you can think of, but when I think of McGill, I think of medicine, I think of law, I think of all these reputable faculties that McGill has, right? And especially the faculty of the medicine faculty. Mm-hmm. The investments that come into McGill, whether they're from Jews over here or Jews from abroad or companies or whatever it is, that help develop everything that we have here, that help us have that reputation in our medical field, why would you want to put an end to that?
Because you hate Jews?
Ted, man, I've been baffled by these things from the very beginning. I don't understand people. I don't understand. I don't know if it's a generational thing. We had people when I was in university that were demonstrating, and okay, it's fine. I think every generation goes through that, right? But this one is special, I think. This is, for me, I don't understand it.
It's surreal to me because I never thought in my lifetime, growing up when I did, and living where I have for the last 40 years, I don't know if you know this, but Montreal, after New York and Israel, or Israel and New York in that order, Montreal had the third largest Holocaust survivor community in the world. Mm-hmm. More Holocaust survivors resettled in Montreal than anywhere outside of Israel or New York. So, and I've lived here for 40 years, so I've known a lot of people with the tattoos on their arms.
Yeah.
Survivors, and I know even more descendants of survivors, sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters of survivors. And when they feel a collective sense of unease and foreboding, which they do, That says something to me. That speaks volumes to me, and that has a lot of credibility with me. And it's surreal to me when I turn on the TV or go online and I see if you can find that the first link that I sent to you, Poseidon. This is in Vancouver. People, and this happened in Ottawa too, and I think we talked about this on the podcast. People openly celebrating the slaughter of 1,200 to 2,000 Jews on October 7th, openly celebrating it.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking 1930s Germany shit. How is that happening in our lifetime, and how is it being allowed to happen without being universally condemned? People go, well, yeah, it was terrible that they killed them, but you have to look at the context. No, I don't. I don't have to fucking look at the context. Yeah. They slaughtered innocent people in their homes and raped women.
It's troubling also that for many of these people, they're still calling it a liberation movement.
Yeah,
right?
well,
so for them, it's
this clip is from Vancouver.
We demand a free Palestine from the river to the sea. And that we stand with the Palestinian resistance and their heroic and brave action on October 7th. And they say, long live October 7th.
Wow.
And we say today, long live October 7th.
Like, that's fucking Hitler shit, man.
Justin Trudeau denounced that statement. Pierre Poilievre denounced that statement. Every one of these Canadian politicians who could not find one word to denounce the slaughter of 40,000 Palestinians in Gaza.
You know, my blood boils, and I usually tend to just ignore morons like that.
It's actually kind of insane.
It is insane.
It's 100% insane. How do you that's crazy, bro.
You know, here's the thing.
You know what the problem is? What's happening to people in Gaza, this is my opinion, is terrible. But the thing is, when you come out and you say shit like that, and you say a free Palestine, now here's the thing. Everyone deserves to be at peace and have their own country. But when you say like, oh, from the river to the sea, to like exterminate them, like then you lose your argument. You lose your right to want to be.
You have no moral authority.
Exactly. You can't be like, yeah, I want to be free and peaceful, but then like, no, I want to slaughter them to take over. Like, you know, and I understand both sides are. I don't know what to say, man. It's crazy. It's insane.
Here's what baffles me, because and we've spoken about this so many times about hate speech and how the government will reprimand it and all that stuff. Where's the government when this is happening? When it's obvious and it's blatant and it's in your face and it's not, let me see what he wrote and, okay, do we need to contextualize it? Is it hate speech?
That's a good question. You know as someone with experience in political comms, behind the scene political communication, what is the advice that they're getting, or what would the reason be that they wouldn't say you need to go out and condemn that right away?
Right away.
Is it because they don't want to piss off a would-be voting bloc, or
I don't know. Is it because I don't know if they start doing that, are they going to put gas in the flames? I don't know.
Do they feel like they have to both sides it? I don't think you have to both sides it. To openly condemn that. You can, you can be appalled by what's happening in Palestine and by the people, by the vast numbers of people who are dying and the destruction that's being rained down on Palestine by the Israeli Defense Force in retaliation for October 7th.
I think when it comes to condemning it, I think they did, and I don't know if it's that particular event or if it's another one, and we spoke about it with Chrystia Freeland that was questioned about it and all that stuff. But that may have been Ottawa. I can't remember where it was. But in any case, they condemn it. The problem isn't that. The problem is, what about concrete action?
Yeah.
How about setting an example whereby the next person that opens his or her mouth
that says something like that gets arrested and charged with hate crimes?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We had that case in Montreal at the very beginning with Adil Sharkawi that we spoke about. He was, he's a very popular Muslim leader. There was a massive demonstration downtown on St. Catherine and St. Urban, right where the police headquarters is, right on the corner where the Place des Spectacles is. And he was just the shit that was coming out of that man's mouth.
Hateful.
Oh my goodness. His argument though was that I'm just citing religious texts, the Quran, and it's part of Islam and blah blah blah, which I don't want to believe. I think that plays into interpretation. And the last time I heard some people commenting on that was that, well, the lawyers are looking into it to see exactly, did he say it or was he citing some religious manuscripts or whatever, which falls under the freedom of religion and expression kind of bracket of the criminal code, right? And of our constitution, where look, all religions are protected in Canada, right? Yeah. So I don't know how fine that line is. I think it's fucking bullshit. And I think it was Legault that I don't know. I don't think he pressed charges, but I think he's the one that filed the official complaint, and the cops arrested him. Now I don't know what they're looking into personally, but this has to end, and there can't be ifs or buts. It's obvious to me what she's saying, praising October 7th.
Yeah.
What is she still doing out?
I don't know.
To me, she should be arrested.
I don't
That's hate
know.
crime.
And we move from, and especially in the social media age, we move from one trendy topic or protest to the next, right? Like it was, COVID was trendy for a while, to go after the anti-vaxxers, and then it became Ukraine. Ukraine was, everybody was, yay, Ukraine, Putin bad. But now everyone's moved on to this. You ever hear anyone talk about Ukraine anymore? I hear fuck all the big biz about Ukraine now, because everybody's on to this.
Yeah.
So, but when I say to myself, okay, does that mean this is a passing trend as well, and we'll move on to the next thing?
I don't think it is.
I know. I think this one's different, and it's not going to have a happy ending. And if push comes to shove and you say to me, okay, you got to pick a side, I'm with Israel and my Jewish friends. I'll fucking stand 100%. Shoulder to shoulder with them
100%. But to answer your question on why I think it's also different, there's a lot of hatred outside, and it's not just against Jews. I'll even go as far as to say that there's a lot of anti-Muslim hate as well, right?
Yeah.
So that part of the world is very delicate. And if you look at just the action that has been taken by Anthony Blinken, who's the Secretary of State in the U.S., the guy's done already, I think, 8 visits in the Middle East trying to resolve that problem. That hasn't happened in Europe. It hasn't happened in Europe because there's not that big of a risk of instability politically, geopolitically. There, if the shit hit, the shit was ready to hit the fan. Everything is still hanging on by a fucking thread. But it's disastrous. The Middle East is, it's that red panic button.
Yeah.
So everyone is trying to resolve this matter as quickly as possible. The latest news that I heard was Anthony Blinken was down there trying to pressure both sides to come to an agreement, at least with a ceasefire, pressuring Hamas to send back the hostages.
But how do you negotiate with Hamas? How do you negotiate with people their stated goal is the destruction of Israel and the eradication of the Jewish people? How do you negotiate?
Because the alternative, Ted, is killing more Palestinians. Innocent people. And we know that that's the tactic, right? Hamas has infiltrated, the civil society, hospitals, schools, institutions, underground tunnels, apartment buildings, residential sectors. So you know where they are, but you know that if I attack these guys, there's another 20 innocent people that are going to die, or 100.
Yeah, and the problem is Hamas cares more about eradicating Israel than their own people.
Of course they do. And the genocide thing is a fucking red herring. That's, that word is thrown around now like racism. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
No.
They've taken the meaning. Yeah. They've taken the meaning of the word away.
So Anthony Blinken is there. He's trying to patch things up. And you have Netanyahu who says, well, we're going to march into Rafah whether there's an agreement or not. So on the other hand, you have an Israeli government that, number one, isn't so popular. There's a lot of Israelis in the streets protesting against that government. It's still unclear how this whole thing started to begin with. We had that conversation already. There has to be some sort of investigation on how this was even possible. How the hell in the most secure border in
October
the world?
7th, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing now.
But that's the pressure that Netanyahu has been under from the very beginning. And the fact that it's a coalition government, right?
Yeah,
So
and the Hamas apologists are going, oh, it was an inside job, like the 9/11 inside job.
Yeah.
They're going down that road.
Yeah. So,
Prove it.
so there's all this pressure now. So it's not just about them getting retribution and sending the message that if you fuck with us, we will kill every single one of you, which is what Netanyahu said about Hamas. But it's also dealing with the fact that there is a very unstable Israeli government right now. And if you think of it, it is the only democracy in the Middle East, which is very weak and unstable at this point. So,
Do you think is unstable too strong a word, or
No, I
is it
think
just that
it's
they
not-
don't have unanimous?
yeah, no, I
support?
think unstable is the right word.
Really, eh?
It's a very thin. Well, there's no majority. It's a coalition.
Yeah.
and that coalition is.
But unstable to me suggest. But you're just talking about the political situation. You're not. It's like the.
I'm not saying that democracy is at risk in Israel.
but
I'm saying that the government is on.
Civil society in Israel is not unstable.
No. I'm saying the government itself. Netanyahu doesn't have the support of his population.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
And it's messed up because you have both people dying. You have people on both sides dying. Like since October 7th, there's been like 34,000 civilians that apparently are dead in Gaza.
Yeah, but again, I don't.
Where do those numbers come
that's
from?
The thing. That's what I was going to say. I don't want to be seen as a conspiracy theorist or whatever. But when you know that those numbers are coming from the Palestinian Health Authority that is ran by Hamas, I think it's normal that
You have to take it with a grain of salt. There's no
and-
question that thousands of innocent civilians have been killed, and that Israel launched the attacks that killed them.
Yeah,
There's no question of that. But why did they do it?
exactly.
They did it because of October 7th.
Yeah.
And then you can go back like close to 80 years. You can go back to when Israel was established. And I'm not an expert or an authority on the history of Israel, but I know that there has been numerous wars. Violence has been a staple of the region since the establishment of the Israeli state. But we've come to a point now where all of a sudden, after 76 years? 76 years after the establishment of Israel, now all of a sudden, now they're trying to genocide the Palestinians. If that was their goal, and
They could have easily done it
with the
earlier.
kick-ass fucking army that Israel has, and I've seen. And again, I'm just another person who sees shit on social media, but I've seen charts on social media that show the growth of the Palestinian population in the time that Israel has existed. So if you're trying to genocide someone, generally speaking, their population doesn't grow; it diminishes.
Yeah. And the other thing is because I've seen a lot of stuff online comparing these demonstrations here in the university campuses to what was happening in the 70s with the Vietnam War.
Yep.
And there's one big difference. It's not the U.S. government that's at war. If the U.S. or Canadian government is at war and your people are demonstrating because they're against that war, they have every legitimate right to do so, right? Now, I'm not saying that we should be ignorant with what's happening elsewhere in the world, but you can't compare. These were American citizens that didn't want their country to be involved in that war. They were demonstrating.
Their sons and brothers.
Yeah. And there were violences, right? I mean, where was it?
Kent State.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Kent
the
State.
National Guard.
There were
opened
5
fire
or
on
6 people that were killed.
4 people
killed.
Yeah.
So you clearly don't want that. And everyone is comparing the encampments to that. And they're like, oh, yeah, we did the same thing for Vietnam and it's all right. But for me, it's two completely different things. Your demonstrations over here are not going to change anything in the Middle East. Zero. Even though your intentions are good, right? I mean, because war is a bad thing, and I can understand that you're against something happening in the world, and you have every right to demonstrate against it. And you want to raise awareness to your government. I think the government pretty much knows what's happening. Yeah. They're involved already in peace talks and all that.
Who's phoning you?
Yeah.
Answer that. Let me give them a piece of my mind.
Yeah.
He's doing a fucking podcast.
God damn it. So even though they're heavily involved over there, the minute you have the Israeli prime minister that says whether or not we come to an agreement, I'm walking into Rafah, what are you going to do over here that is going to change? Like, what is the Canadian government going to do when you have the American Secretary of State that hasn't figured out yet? You think Justin Trudeau, Melanie Joly is going to settle the problem? What are you, fucking crazy?
Justin and Melanie.
Good God.
Holy old
So
smokes.
the message, I guess, that we're trying to say, not that, not that we're going to make a difference.
Nobody's called us.
Yeah. Demonstrate all you want. Make sure it's fucking peaceful. Make sure it's respectful.
And make sure it's not hateful.
And get the fuck out of private property.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Or if you want to do it on school property, do it. I don't care. But don't block students from going to class or, affect people's safety and security on campus. What are you, crazy?
And get out of there by Friday, because I'm going to a dinner on Friday right beside McGill, and I don't want to get caught up in all that business.
What if Friday is the big push that the cops? Oh man,
then
you're
I'm
gonna
in
get
trouble.
to experience it. No, you're gonna get to experience it firsthand.
I guess, yeah. But I'm going to be wearing my best suit, and I don't want it to get dirty.
Have you ever experienced giant riots where people are getting beaten the fuck
In
up?
the middle of it, have I ever experienced it personally, live?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
You?
Oh, it's something.
Where were you?
I've seen two.
Yeah?
Let me think about that. Maybe more, but two that I can remember clearly. One was in Greece. I was living in Athens, and I'm walking downtown, and just honestly, Ted, out of nowhere, I don't know what the fuck happened. I have no idea what happened. It happened so quickly. I was in the middle of fucking thousands of people in Sidakma Square at the Constitution Square there, and all fucking hell broke. And I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And I'm smelling the pepper spray, and I'm like, holy shit! I squeezed my way out. I'm like, how? I didn't even see this coming. Like,
What year was this?
This was in 2006.
Okay. And what were the
I
demonstrators?
don't even know. I don't know.
Anti-government something?
Yeah, it was a
or
bunch of
whatever?
communist flags
Yeah?
everywhere.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, there you
before
go.
you know it, sidewalks were broken. People were throwing concrete to the cops, and it was all just chaos. Flares. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I don't think I ran away from something faster in my life than that. The second one, it was during the student crisis here in Quebec.
The pots and pans?
Yeah, in 2010, 11, something like that.
Yeah.
There was a party convention in, God, where was it? Was it in Three Rivers? Fuck, I don't remember where we were. And it was psychotic. First of all, they had to change. They had to change the map that we had to access to the convention center like 3 times because there were so many
Was this
people.
when you were doing politics?
Yeah, I was involved. So we go there, and obviously everybody rallied up. All the students were there, obviously against Jean Charest. We had our convention. They were pretty far, but you can see them from the window. Like it wasn't that far. I mean, you can clearly see them. And the riot cops were at that convention center, obviously to protect the people there. And that's when I found out that riot police don't carry guns. They don't carry weapons. I didn't know that.
They just carry clubs?
Clubs.
Like their billy clubs?
Yeah.
Yeah, nightsticks, whatever you
and
want
a
to call
shield.
them.
They have a shield. They have their helmet. They have their shin guards and elbow. Like,
Well, I guess it would make sense.
because if you get taken down and if someone takes your arm, you're done.
And they take they get their hands on your gun, yeah.
So here's what I saw. One of the officers gets taken down and they're just destroying the poor guy. And then there's a police car that just goes and rams and pow, just to get the guy out of there. I'm seeing this. I'm like,
What, rams the protesters?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Pow, they hit him. I'm like, this can't be fucking happening. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here?
In Three Rivers.
Yeah, I think it might have been somewhere else, but I think it was in Three Rivers.
That just amazes me that would happen at all in Quebec.
It was crazy. No, the student demonstrations were fucking crazy.
I didn't realize that they were
And the sad thing about that movement was that all this violence, it wasn't really the students. It was all these stupid extremists that kind of infiltrated themselves.
Well, a lot
into
of
the
people
movement.
think that's what's happening with the pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel demonstrations as well. That there are,
Definitely,
the
for sure.
students. Yeah, find that second clip that I sent you, Poseidon.
Si, senor.
A lot of the students got no fucking idea what they're talking about. Like you asked, and I've seen this online. I've seen. You know,
Are you talking about that student in Colombia?
well, there's a few of them. You know, I've seen which river, which sea, which river and sea are you talking about? Well, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not very good at geography. But listen to this one here.
I don't think I've seen this one.
Yeah, this just demonstrates.
Been familiar with the issue of Palestine before October 7th. When did you first start learning about Palestine? And when was that?
Yeah, so not too much. I came up in the New York City public school system. I think it was in high school I had a teacher who, told us.
Just getting warmed up.
I mean, my background, I'm black and white, so I grew up in a very
Jesus Christ.
American-based African diaspora conversations. So I think it was in high school we started talking about how Israel was given like the two-state and that sort of thing, and I had to teach I don't think there can be much sympathy for their position now, given the mass violence they've incited on the Palestinian people. And I think that was the first time an educator had ever said that. That was my junior year at a high school in the Bronx. And yeah, ever since, I mean, I grew up on Obama. I went to his inaugurations, big Democratic households, and I had no idea that he was responsible, dropped more drone bombs and whatnot on the Middle East than any president in history. I had no idea he was
Just regurgitating lines.
Yeah. She's got a nice cafe on.
That was not part of what I was fed growing up as an Obama kid.
Like, she's got no fucking idea what
Hold on,
she's
did
talking
she say
about.
I was fat growing up under Obama? Kid, what?
I think I was just a kid growing up in.
Like, not a clue. And she's not an isolated case. I've seen all kinds of kids like that.
My head actually hurts after that.
On social media. I was telling George on the way in today. I saw another one, and she was asked, what brings you out here to demonstrate? And she goes, well, I'm really opposed to what's happening down in Palestine. Down in Palestine, like
just down
right next to Florida, fucking down in Palestine.
I went to Palestine, Texas.
Look, it's a movement, right? So you're gonna attract.
Well, it's cool.
These
it's
ideologues,
cool.
yeah.
Well, they're not even ideologues. They just want to be part of something.
Yeah.
They just want to be part of the cool thing that's happening right now.
This is not
and the demonstrations are the cool thing that's happening.
Yeah, but this
right
is
now.
not just one of those things, right? Student tuition or student rights or whatever.
Yeah, I understand that.
This is a huge fucking conflict.
Absolutely, and they obviously don't understand that.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. They're just out there because that's where their friends are, and that's where all the cool kids are right now. All the cool kids are at the pro-Palestinian demonstrations.
God damn. What else?
What would be a funny sketch? A funny sketch would be if like you grab these ladies and they do the whole and then Netanyahu goes, I am touched, I will stop the bombing. I am so touched by your words.
Now I understand.
Oh god.
Do you want to talk about that little cartoon there?
I think we should. That's getting a lot of play on social media. I sent that to you too, Poseidon. I think it's the last link that I sent to you. It's a meme that Ryan Whitney put up on his social media feed.
Who's Ryan Whitney?
Ryan Whitney's a former NHL player and one of the co-hosts of a podcast.
Where did he play?
He played for a bunch of different teams. Spit and Chicklets is the name of the podcast.
Very
It's
popular
probably,
podcast,
I think it's the biggest, most popular hockey podcast. So after the Toronto Maple Leafs went down 3-1 to the Boston Bruins and were really getting their lunch handed to them, as they always do. Like Boston always dominates the Leafs in the playoffs.
I feel bad for the Toronto.
So he put up this meme, and it's a big grizzly bear, basically ass fucking a polar bear, right? And the polar bear's got a tear coming out of its eye, and
I'm also noticing that the polar bear is wearing figure skates
and a tutu. And has a purse.
Oh my God.
So
I just noticed the purse.
So we're
laughing, but it's not funny.
Yeah, he's getting ripped. he's getting fucking ripped on social media by people who are saying rape is not funny, sexual assault is not funny, this is not funny. But there are also a lot of people coming to his defense saying, get a fucking sense of humor, it's a meme.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that it is funny. So I'm not going to say whether I think it's funny or not, but I will say this. I wouldn't have put it up.
No.
Even if I thought it was funny, I wouldn't have.
No.
And I've said some pretty fucking dumb things on social media that have gotten me in shit.
Yeah.
But even I know better than that.
I mean, the line is pretty thin on this one, I think.
Yeah.
Because you can understand the humor behind it.
Yeah.
And I think
the Leafs are getting fucked by the Bruins again.
And anyone that follows sports, they're like, yeah, they fucked them. Yeah, they're gonna get this, right? But given everything that's been going on,
This guy wrote, delete your account.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you go through the responses to that, I would say they're probably, I don't know, 10 to 1. Like for every 10,
he hasn't taken it down. Obviously,
no,
he
and
doesn't care.
he won't. And he won't
You
either.
shouldn't reproduce, this guy wrote.
Yeah, he won't take it down either. And I think that might be the right call, because when you acquiesce to the mob, then they've got you.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's delicate.
Somebody wrote, this guy wrote, this comment thread is all you need to see to know Seinfeld is right.
Well, that's another thing that we could tie into that. Seinfeld said in an interview this week or last, he talked about how comedy's been ruined, and you can't make a sitcom anymore because of woke culture, and nobody's got a sense of humor. But I think he's wrong, because otherwise, how would the...
Sorry, I cut you off, Ted.
Yeah, go ahead.
This guy gets it.
What's he say?
You should set up a nonprofit to bring awareness to the scourge of bear rape. This guy gets it.
Yeah.
This guy gets it.
Yeah, what were you saying? So you
Sorry,
you don't agree with
That's
Seinfeld?
okay. Well, no, because South Park,
It's still going.
Family Guy,
Yeah.
Rick and Morty, if you've ever seen that. Like, there's all kinds of comedy out there that could be interpreted as, pardon me, as bad taste. But I think at the end of the day, money talks. And I think that's part of the reason that maybe Ryan Whitney won't take this down, because Spit and Chicklets has a lot of clout. A lot of people watch Spit and Chicklets. It generates revenue. So, you're not going to be able to cancel him, and you're not going to be able to cancel that show. And I think that he knows that.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason he's leaving it up. And as I already said, I think that's a good strategy on his part, because you cannot acquiesce to the mob, because then you're fucked.
But it's still very delicate.
Oh, absolutely,
Ted, I
it's
mean,
delicate. Yeah,
and
I
especially-
understand. I can understand people being outraged by
And
it.
especially
It doesn't offend me.
and especially with all the accusations about.
I don't understand why it would infuriate you. I have a hard time understanding where.
It doesn't infuriate me. I get it, and I see the humor behind.
No,
this,
I don't understand
and the
people that
fact that we hate the Leafs.
Yeah.
But I don't even understand why it's a thin line. Like, it's not a thin. It's just this cartoon drawing.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just a lot of people. I can understand how a lot of people see this and immediately associate it to all the gang rapes that the players have gotten accused. Here in Canada,
that's
much more than
There's, I think, our junior hockey,
junior hockey team.
No. That leap is insane. That's another thing entirely. This is just to represent what Boston did to
This
the
is
Leafs.
guys just bothering each other. I'm a Boston fan. You're a Leafs fan. We fucked you. Here, take that. You know what I mean? And it's funny that it's a grizzly and a polar bear, because we're in Canada and it's cold. I get it.
I think
I wouldn't have put it up either.
No, I wouldn't have put it up because the reaction is so predictable. It's so predictable, especially with social media now. Everybody's got a platform to express their outrage. So something like that is going to generate lot of backlash.
Yeah, but then again, Ted, you're not that guy on that popular platform.
No.
If I had a huge platform and I didn't give a fuck, and I thought this is how I feel and this is what I'm going to express, maybe like him, I wouldn't care either.
Yeah, I would like to know what his thought process was. I don't think he's even referenced it on his Twitter account since he put it up. I don't think he's even referenced it. I think he's just pretended like
there's nothing there.
Yeah,
There's nothing there.
And I think that's the way to go, because at some point everyone will move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, look, it's not the same thing, but the only thing that I could relate to this is because I've been very judgmental on my Twitter when it comes to politics. And I was exchanging with Salim, the guy that we do our French podcast with. And I told him, oh man, I think we should reach out to Justin Trudeau's office, see if we can get him on the podcast. You know, we had all the provincial political leaders. I go, you know, what if we can get the federal guys too? You know, it'd be nice. It'd be great for the podcast, obviously. So I send the guy a message that I know to help us out, just to see, and not even to book, just to see if it's even a possibility.
Yeah. Okay.
So at this point, we're just exploring it, right? And deep down, I know it's not going to happen, but what do I lose, right?
Yeah, you're going to lose it all.
So Salim gets back to me and goes, dude, if you work for Justin Trudeau and you would read the tweets that you put out, would you send him on your podcast? And I said, listen, man, first of all, my tweets aren't bad. I mean, I nail him a couple times. Mm-hmm. They're not disrespectful. I mean, I don't think they are. And at the end of the day, you want to look at the platform, not the person, because if the podcast was in any way, shape, or form similar to the stuff that I put out on Twitter, where we would bring our guests and destroy them, right, I would understand it. You're afraid to come on, but that's not our goal. Our goal is to offer this very nonpartisan medium through which we can just have a conversation, and everyone's been on there. Yeah. We've had, leader of Quebec Solidaire. I didn't even know how I held myself from not fucking choking the guy, in my basement, but it happened, and it's fine. I can, you can control yourself. We're adults. So, there was a little back and forth with him, and, same thing. He goes, look, man, dude. He goes, I'm not telling you to put anything.
This is your co-host?
Yeah, this is something. He goes, look, I'm not telling you necessarily to delete your tweets, but these are political leaders. They their staff is going to research. They're going to do the background check. They're going to follow these things. And from that point on, would you send them or not? I don't think they're that bad, but I get his point.
Yeah. I actually said to Terry, because I'm quite opinionated on social media, and I said to Terry when he was in town and we were recording the latest episodes, the latest season of our podcast, I said, anytime you think I should dial it back on social media, let me know, because we count on sponsors on our podcast, right? And we've had a couple of sponsors drop out, and they were very gracious, and they didn't say it was because of, they just said it was a business decision, right? And that they've moved on in their advertising strategy. They've moved beyond our podcast. Yeah. But I wonder sometimes if they might, have looked at my Twitter and gone, whoa. And it doesn't take much, right? Yeah. When I was still working at Light 106.7, when Greta Thunberg first came to prominence about, 2018, 2019, when did she come to Montreal or to Canada? I was still working in politics, so it must have been between 2016 and 2018. It was towards the end. And so she was the flavor of the month at the time, right? Everyone loved Greta because she was, look, the sweet little autistic Swedish girl who's fighting to save the planet. Whatever happened to her? I feel like we don't talk about her that as much as we did. She grew up and she's got a great set of tits.
No way!
Yeah, I'll find you the picture.
No way!
See, that's the kind of thing.
So how old is she?
She's in the early 20s now. Yeah.
Okay, she's 21.
Google Greta Thunberg arrested.
Yeah,
Greta,
she gets arrested everywhere.
Yeah, Greta Thunberg arrested, and
she loves it. She loves those clips.
Wearing a tight gray T-shirt, and the cops are dragging her away, and she's got exciting mammalian protuberances.
No, those are tiny. That's weird.
Right.
I know I'm dressed like a pedophile, but
no, she's a grown woman now. Anyway, what I said was, I was so sick and tired.
She still looks like a child. It's weird.
Yeah, well, her face does. Yeah, I was so sick and tired of hearing about her, and so I posted a picture of her with her pigtails, and I said, "Your 15 minutes are up, Heidi. Go herd some sheep." And I got a letter from my employer from the radio station. and I got like a letter of reprimand.
Oh my God.
And I got an email from Renault Depot because I was doing their commercials at the time. I was the English voice of Renault Depot in Quebec.
They dropped you?
They didn't drop me, but they said, this has been brought to our attention and we don't like it. And keep your fucking opinions to yourself if you want to continue to be the voice of Renault Depot. And all I did was say, your 15 minutes are up, Heidi. Go herd some sheep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I can understand Renault Depot kind of protecting their interests. They're like, look, you're our voice, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're across the country here. Or are they just in Quebec? No, they're Home Depot elsewhere, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's not as if I put up the meme of the bear raping the other bear, you know? I just said,
I'm not telling you I agree with them. I'm just saying that I can understand their position.
Oh, yeah, for sure, because they would have been...
The position I don't understand is the employer who owns a medium, like a media, through which you're expressing... free speech.
Yeah, well, I got fired for that. I got fired for that on a different matter that I can't talk about.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the middle of litigation with them. But yeah, I got fired for expressing an opinion, and it was no more controversial or outrageous than what I said about Greta Thunberg. The Greta Thunberg thing was like, that was just like. To me, that's nothing.
It's borderline a joke, I think. It's like,
it was a joke. Yeah. It was like, okay.
Like, you're not mean.
Yeah. Did you find her, Poseidon?
Sorry, what do you want me to look for?
I was just...
I did find her, but I was not attracted to it.
You're not impressed?
No, I was not impressed.
I'm not saying I'm attracted to it necessarily. I just, when I saw...
but you want me to show people?
When I saw the picture, I thought, holy crow, look, she's all grown up now.
I wouldn't say all grown up.
Well...
Here, let's show the people. Let's show the people.
Yeah, there they are.
I think she.
Where?
Wow, you are hurting me.
No, eh?
Nah, this looks like a 12-year-old.
No. There's one particular picture where they're there. Whoa, we'll go. That one. No, over to the right. Yeah, that one. Pretty much. Or one more over. One more. Yeah. Like that one. That's
Photoshop. That's not her real tits. Yeah, 100%. Yeah? That's not her real tits. There's no way.
All right.
Look at this here. Look at it's weird. It's off.
This whole thing is weird that we're looking at Greta Thunberg's fucking tits.
The fact that we're
why I got fired. But I can do that on this show. I just can't do it on the radio.
You know what?
Yeah, she still looks like a 12-year-old.
Her face does, yeah, for sure.
And her body, she's very tiny.
I think she's early 20s now, I think.
21.
Yeah.
You know what? Look, I'll give her the fact that at that young age, she managed to get that kind of exposure for whatever cause that she's supporting.
Her parents are actors, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, her parents used her as a prop. Her parents. She
That's
was
the part that bothers me.
She was a creation.
There's
of
no
her
way
parents.
that any youngster. She was 14 when this whole movement started, right? Yeah. That. Like, who's preparing you? Who's doing your comms? Who's writing your speech?
It's like
it was evident from the very beginning that there's an entire machine behind you organizing all these things, and I found that sad because
she was exploited.
You're 14 years old.
Yeah, she was exploited.
Like, you should be fucking out playing at a park or I don't know what. Go watch a movie.
Yeah.
Do what normal 14-year-olds do.
It's like little kids, like even younger, when you see like little 8 and 9-year-old kids, and I've seen this. Well, one time is too many times, but I've seen it a bunch of times on social media where, a little boy has decided that he's actually a little girl. So there he is on social media with long hair and wearing a dress, or the opposite. A little girl has decided, and there's always the fucking parent. There's always the parent who you can see that they're stage managing this kid. Yeah. So it's got nothing to do with the kid. It's all about the parent.
If that were to happen in my family, it would be such a private matter. Not private in the sense that don't tell anybody about who you are. Like do what you have to do. but it wouldn't be something that I'd be putting out on social media.
No, it's because it's nobody's fucking
Or even
business.
allowing my kid to do
and
that.
that's so intensely
And not because I want to keep it private, but because the hatred and the pressure that is going to come from social media is going to fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
At that young age that you're not ready, you're not prepared to deal with that.
Of course not. Well, like I say, that's why it's stage parents.
Yeah.
You know, they're stage managing their own kid to satisfy their own ego.
I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what's happening over at Quebec Solidaire. This is the radical left-wing party in Quebec with Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois. And in that party...
He was one of the leaders of the student protests that we were speaking of earlier,
how he
right?
became popular, the guy. I don't think anybody expected him to become the leader that he is today because he's gained a lot of respect, whether you agree with him or not. I couldn't agree with him even if you fucking paid me. But I still have to give it to the guy. He was that dumbass kid that you wanted to punch the TV screen there. He was the guy that didn't want to denounce the violence that was happening during those demonstrations. He was the only one. He was the only student leader that didn't come out and say, "We denounce it. Please stop. This isn't the purpose of our demonstration." He was the only one. All the other student leaders, they came out. They're like, "Look, guys, you got to stop. You're messing up the message.
So he was the Che Guevara of the student demonstrations.
Yeah. So, anyways, the fact that he actually managed to reach where he's reached now is good for him, I guess. But anyway, the constitution of that party has two spokespersons, right? And it has to be one male and one female.
What's it, like a spokesperson?
Because they don't have a leader. They don't have the leader of a party. It's called the porte-parole, the co-porte-parole.
Okay, so by design, they don't have... I thought he was a co-leader with Manon Massé.
Yeah,
but she's gone now, right?
Manon Massé stepped down as a co-leader, and there was like a leadership race.
Okay.
And ideally, what they try to do is to have one elected and one non-elected.
Okay.
It wasn't the case, when it was him and Manon Massé, but now they try to do that. And so there was a leadership race, and the young woman that won, her name was Émilise Lessard-Terrien. She used to be elected from Abitibi-Témiscamingue. They lost that seat in the 22 elections. And she ran for the leadership and she won. It was very, like a slight difference. It was really, really tight, though, that election. And she came in 5 months. It's been not even 5 months. She announced that she was resigning.
Wow.
So there's a leadership crisis happening in Quebec Solidaire. And
why did she resign?
Here's the thing. Because some people are talking and some others are, taking the diplomatic route, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, she was very tired from the very beginning. It was an exhausting campaign, leadership campaign. She's out in the regions. So her mandate as a non-elected spokesperson is to travel around Quebec and mobilize the troops and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And it's very tiring. And it was overwhelming and she couldn't handle it.
But you've lost me now. You said she ran for a leadership campaign and won, but then you just said she was the non-elected.
Yeah, because the way, the leadership of the party, the way it's designed, there's two spokespersons.
So she was elected to the non-elected position?
She was elected as a spokesperson.
Non-elected as a member of the National Assembly.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so... And it took 5 months, and then she stepped down. And so a lot of people are saying, it was too overwhelming. She couldn't handle it, blah, 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 this and that. I think the real reason is because she came in thinking that this is what I need. I need a press attaché. I need money. I need to organize a tour. I need you guys to... And Quebec Solidaire doesn't have money. Let's remember that. They're the second opposition. They lost the votes in the last election, which means that the elections Quebec gave them less money to function than they had in the previous mandate. So, they're very careful with the resources, and most of these resources, which make sense, are on the Hill. They're there to support the elected officials to do their job, right? So the party doesn't have those resources. And I know how it feels because the Liberal Party of Quebec had to make a lot of cuts, like a lot of cuts. They lost, I think, close to $1 million in revenue.
Right.
Because they got destroyed in the last election. So she came in thinking that I need everything, with a mindset that she had back when she was elected, where anything she needed, let's go this, okay, research this. Now you're on your own. So there was very little help. And so there's that aspect. And then the third aspect, which is for me the more interesting one, is that they never got along with Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois. and she was
They being her?
her and Gabrielle Nadeau-Dubois.
Okay.
So they never got along. And from what I'm understanding is that from the very beginning, the plan, what she had planned out to do as a co-spokesperson, Gabrielle Nadeau-Dubois disagreed heavily, you know? So there was this clash. Now there's a problem because, okay, it's fine when you talk about Gabrielle Nadeau-Dubois and Émilie Lessard-Terrien, and, you know, that happens in politics. I mean, no, you know, you don't always agree. But the problem with that party is that you have two heads, okay? And technically, they're equal. Even though one is elected and one isn't, they both represent the party. The problem with that is that, forget about the individuals, okay, and what, you know, the relationship they had. What's more interesting to me is the dynamics in caucus. Because in your caucus, you have people that supported her and that helped her campaign and organize that leadership. And they got their members to back her up. So there's this whole dynamic that exists around this leadership race, whether it's in that party or any other party. So the fact now that she's no longer there and that she left has a direct repercussion in elected officials sitting in caucus that now have to fucking deal with this guy that I think they know he's the real reason why she stepped down.
Okay. How many
they're 11.
seats have they got? That's, yeah.
They're 11. And for me, that's going to be very interesting because yesterday was the first day, because she announced that she was stepping down on Monday. Yesterday was Tuesday, was the first day after that announcement. Gabrielle Nadeau-Dubois didn't show up at the National Assembly. He wasn't in question. He didn't show up the whole day. Today, I'm not sure what happened. He's probably there. I don't know why he would miss 2 days. But this to me is very interesting. So there's, I'm just putting it out there for people that are interested. Keep an eye out to see what's going to happen in Quebec Solidaire. Things are going to start moving. I don't know.
Where are they in the polls?
They're not doing so well.
Because
they're pretty steady at 15%, and they're pretty much.
And they would lose if the PQ is going to do well. It will be at their expense to some degree. Would it not be?
Not exactly. I mean, the PQ is going to get whatever vote they had managed to get, maybe in the regions. So, for example, in Abitibi-Témiscamingue, for example, where this girl was from, I don't think they have any chances anymore. That vote's going to the PQ.
Right.
I'm curious to see how, because they have 2 seats in the Quebec region. They have Jean Lesage and Taschereau. It's 2 ridings that are in the Quebec region. I'm not convinced that they could keep those 2 seats in the region of Quebec. I think they're going to lose those seats.
Are they a separatist party? They are, right?
They're supposed to be, but they never talk about separate independence.
Okay.
And this is where the PQ has now destroyed them.
Okay.
Because we've spoken about this many times. Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon from the PQ is, his convictions are just set on doing another referendum if they get the power. And that completely paralyzed Quebec Solidaire, which is the other separatist party, yet they never speak about sovereignty. So all that fringe, all that real separatist fringe that was with Quebec Solidaire, I think has already gone back to the PQ.
Yeah.
So they have an issue. So I think that in the regions, whatever support they had is lost. They're going to keep that woke leftist crowd essentially around Montreal. So I think the ridings in Montreal, they're probably going to keep them. Maybe
So like the real radical left you're talking.
Yeah. So I think there's maybe even in Montreal, they may lose, for example, Saint-Henri-Sainte-Anne, which used to be Dominique Anglade's old riding that they won in the by-election. I think that they may lose that. They may lose Verdun, which were both traditional liberal ridings, right? So I think they're going to lose. They're going to lose seats. They know it. The members know it, and the person in charge of the party is Gabrielle Nadeau-Dubois. He knows it, and there's a lot of pressure right now in the party. So I'm very interested to see how it's going to play out. There's definitely a crisis in the party, and that's not good, because when your caucus turns, there's not much you can do.
It hurts, yeah.
There's not much you can do.
When your caucus turns, it hurts. Yeah. That can be very, very painful.
So I'm just putting that out there for the people that follow and that are interested. The other thing that I think we need to speak about, and we can't fucking ignore, is what happened yesterday in Parliament in Ottawa.
Yeah.
The wacko comment.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
the media is saying that this is the first time it happened in Ottawa. I do have, however,
No, it's happened a few times, and it's happened on
that
both
you get
sides.
that the speaker kicks you out of the house.
Yeah, it's happened before, no?
I think it happened with Jagmeet Singh when he accused the Bloc Québécois MP of being racist. And he didn't want to apologize. And I have a feeling that he got reprimanded. I'm not sure, though, that he got kicked out of Parliament.
Did Trudeau get reprimanded when he was a backbencher and called Peter Kent a piece of shit?
He also told Harper to go fuck himself. No, he was never kicked out. He had to apologize afterwards.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
He did, eh?
He did.
Okay.
But this is big. This is the Speaker of the House that uses his discretionary power to tell you, listen, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Your behavior is unacceptable. So the media says that it's never happened before.
He's paraphrasing, of course. The speaker didn't actually say "get the fuck out."
But that
might have been a tad unparliamentary as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here, just put it in context for people. The Speaker of the House gets elected by his peers, okay, in the House. So there's an election. They choose the Speaker. Each party
Is he always a member of the governing party?
Not always, no. Usually it is. But because, if you have a majority or whatever, chances are that you're going to vote for your guy. Yeah. But it's not. It hasn't always been the case, especially in a minority government situation. Just small parenthesis: when Pauline Marois won in Quebec in 2012, they were only ahead by 5 seats. Mm-hmm. So think about it: if you force one of your people to be the speaker, you lose a vote.
Yeah, it's an important vote.
You don't do that. So they chose to put, what was his name? The liberal guy. He was elected in the downtown. God, I forget his name. Doesn't matter. He was a liberal speaker. His name is probably going to come back. Doesn't matter. So back to Ottawa. So this is what happened. So the liberal, the speaker now is a liberal, Fergus. And they're having an exchange. So Poiliev brings up the topic, the very important topic, mind you, in BC, where they have legalized and decriminalized hard drugs, heroin, cocaine, whatever. So you can actually go to sites, controlled sites, where you can get injected with heroin or do coke or whatever the fuck it is.
So these are government-run and administered sites, just like what do you call the pot store in Quebec? The BD,
SQDC there, whatever.
Yeah. So same thing, only for hard drugs.
But these are injection sites. These are controlled injection sites. So, yeah. And there's a big issue. These are next to schools, next to bus stops, and there's videos that have surfaced about people fucking overdosing in buses. Like, it's crazy what's happening in BC right now. Poiliev has chosen to put that on top of his priorities, and to highlight what's going on. And of course, it's a punch to Justin Trudeau, who pretty much made this happen, right? Yeah. So he brings up this topic, and he's like, "What is this government going to do with its wacky politics by a wacko politics by a wacko prime minister?" Yeah. The speaker gets up in the House and like, "Okay, look, I'm going to have you retract those comments. They're non-parliamentary." This happens in Ottawa and in any provincial legislature. There's a list of terms that you cannot use. And it happens very often. Either they forget or they do it on purpose because they want the clip or whatever. But usually they retract the comments. They're like, "Okay, sorry, Mr. Speaker, bro." And they move on, okay? But they say it. You said it. You can get that fucking clip if you want it, right? Yeah. Which is why I don't understand what Poiliev is doing. Why was he just so fucking adamant about not retracting his comments? And what he did, instead of saying, "Okay, I retract it," he goes, "Mr. Speaker, I'll replace my comment by extremist." He is an extremist prime minister.
What I meant to say was fucko.
So, okay, I'll replace it. Here's the thing. And I've tried to exchange with a couple of people that know, the procedure of the parliament. I haven't got any answer yet. I wanted to be prepared for the show, but I don't have the answer.
But wacko is not an insult.
I don't know why wacko is on that list. Probably because it's perceived as insulting, maybe. I don't know, whatever. Here's the thing,
he didn't even call him a wacko. He said it's a wacko thing.
No,
by a wacko prime minister.
It
was directed towards him.
Wacko, come on.
Look, even if it's not parliamentary, and the information that I wanted procedurally, are you even allowed to replace a term? Because I don't think you can. I think if the speaker comes out and says retract your comment, you take back it's not the word that matters. It's the comment that has to be retracted. So phrase it differently if you want to or whatever. So the fact that he was adamant about replacing one term, I'll give credit to the speaker. I think because you can't replace the term, you have to retract the entire comment. So what Poiliev did, and he did it on three occasions. So he warned him, goes, okay, sir, no. He goes, do you retract him? I will replace it by extremist. He gets up and goes, listen, I want you to retract your comment. It's not about the term. You can't replace it. He goes, do you retract it? Mr. Speaker, I'll replace it by radical. It's a radical prime minister. And then he warns him a third time and he goes, Mr. Speaker, I'll replace it with the aforementioned comment. And then this is what's fascinating to me. He turns over to the side and he pulls out a paper.
Poilievre does?
No, the speaker. As if he was fucking prepared for it. No one has commented on this. Like, do you walk into the House already?
So what was the paper that he pulled
It's
out?
the document that explains that given, I don't know which...
that justifies throwing him out of
the
the
article,
House.
I think it's whatever, Standing Order 11 or whatever the fuck he said.
Maybe he has it on hand just
On
in
hand
case.
all the time.
Yeah.
You go into the House prepared to kick someone out. Fuck, it's never happened.
No.
I don't think so. So I don't know. Somewhere deep down inside me, I want to say that this was
It feels like
orchestrated.
a setup? Yeah?
Yeah.
By whom and to what end?
Well, the Liberal Party, listen, man, this guy's fucking opening his mouth saying nonsense. Fuck, kick him out. Why do you accept him? Oh, yeah. He pulls out a paper and there's a Post-it note on it, as if this is the one, right? Like, let me put it so you can easily distinguish the document.
So does Poilievre routinely say things that could get him kicked out?
This is the first time that the Speaker had to correct him. So my answer,
Because I don't know, because I don't watch the House of Commons.
I don't
on a
watch it
regular
either.
basis, but on the news, I very rarely do it. Like I see very sharp exchanges between. It's
the first time that I think I've seen, with respect to Poilievre, that the Speaker corrected him. I think the fact that he said, I'm going to replace the term, indirectly means that he's retracting his fucking comment. So that, in that respect, I think that the Speaker went a little too far. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of people that are commenting on that, except that I've heard. Tom Mulcair, on both French and English media.
What did Mulcair say?
He said that this is just a sign of partisanship from this fucking Speaker.
Well, he's a very experienced parliamentarian.
And
Tom
he's
Mulcair.
served as the leader when he was the Liberals.
And he served in both the federal parliament and the National Assembly.
He understands the procedures of the House. He understands the role of the president. He didn't, it's not like he approved of what Poilievre was saying, but at the same time, he's like, the Speaker, you can't just jump right away because it's a huge thing to kick someone out of Parliament.
Yeah,
it's huge.
And didn't the whole party follow him?
And then the whole party, his whole caucus left with him. And it sucks because yesterday they were exchanging on the budget. I don't know if they voted on the budget or they're going to be voting this week on the budget. So it's the exchange on the most important thing. The Conservatives weren't even there to question the government on the budget. But that's all for visuals. Obviously, they all chose to support their leader. Mind you, it doesn't really mean anything. Today he's going to go back into Parliament like nothing happened. But the question...
To me, I'm sorry, George, continue.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it speaks to how desperate the Liberals are because they're so far behind in the polls. And I think that their strategy is to paint Poilievre as in the most negative light possible, like they did when he stopped at a protest somewhere, a carbon tax protest. Was it down in the Maritimes?
I can't remember where it was.
And they tied him into Diagolon, the so-called supposed right-wing extremist.
The reason why they're linking him there is because they're coming out supporting him as if Poilievre has any choice in that. You had Alex Jones that came out supporting, and they're using it.
Yeah,
this is a guy that is supported by Alex Jones. Who cares?
Yeah.
He supports me. It's not my problem.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I'm going to condone the guy, or I'm going to denounce him for.
He doesn't have to apologize that Alex Jones supports him, and Alex Jones is an American. He doesn't have a vote, and he's not going to influence the election one way or the other.
Well, he has people
Again,
listen,
I just think it speaks to how desperate they are that they're seizing anything they can to try to paint Poilievre.
Remember when I told you,
light.
And we've spoken about this many times, how the Liberals from last year middle of last year, like towards the end of that mandate, that session in the summer, they started in their and it was obvious in their communications they were sliding in comments like, Trump-like politics, far-right politics.
Yeah.
Now they're bringing in this conspiracy theorists supporter, Diagolon, blah blah blah. This is part of a very clear strategy on painting Poilievre a certain way. To go back to your question, because that's exactly what I thought about too. Why the fuck would Poilievre do that? You're ahead of the polls. The point right now is to demonstrate to the Canadian population that you are the most prime ministerial, ready to occupy that seat across the floor. You don't need that. You're ahead of the polls right now. What are you doing, right? So you're giving ammunition to the Liberals, obviously, because they all
he
came
must
out.
think it works to his advantage somehow.
But that's the thing. That's the thing that I started thinking. I don't think people care anymore. I think there is so much fatigue towards the government that nobody cares about what Justin Trudeau has to say, except the people that are just obsessed with, liberal partisanship.
Yeah.
Those you'll never have them. But the right-wing fiscal liberal that the Liberal Party had, I think those guys are gone. They're fucking gone. And I think that this is the strategy that they're trying to implement right now to try to get them back. I don't think they will, though, because their policies are just so far left that you've lost that fringe of your party already. So you're not going to get them. Now, I don't belong to anyone in the federal. I don't have a membership in the Liberals, Conservative. I don't care. I'm seeing this as a very objective thing. If I were a Liberal with Justin Trudeau, what Poilievre did wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me. So, does he know what he's doing? I don't think he gives a shit because the support is still there. It'll be interesting to see maybe in a week or so. There's probably going to be a poll that's going to come out to see if he lost a couple feathers with this one. I don't think it's going to affect him very much. And here's the other thing. Everyone is calling this guy an extreme right-wing guy, blah, blah, blah.
Who, Poilievre?
Yeah. Here's the question I had. Say you were in a coma for 8 years, you woke up yesterday, and I come to you and I tell you, our country's leader has suspended people's bank accounts. Our country's leader has had ethics violations. Our country's leader, I don't know, find any fucking arguments you want there. You know what I mean? Restricted us from traveling, imposed a passport to leave and come back in. Brought a Nazi in Parliament, applauded him, gave him a standing ovation.
That was the worst.
Aren't you going to think that this country is led by a fucking extremist?
Or an idiot.
Or both, yeah. So the question to me is the terms that Poilievre used, whether they are parliamentary or not, okay? And I don't agree with doing that in the House. I mean, there's a certain decorum that you need to keep, right? So I get that he's trying to play into his base. But factually, he called Justin Trudeau an extremist. He called Justin Trudeau wacko. That's a little clownish. Let's remove that one.
But extremist
and he called him radical.
Yeah.
Is it wrong? I'm just putting it out there. Question mark. Is it wrong? Is he wrong?
You can certainly argue that he's not wrong based on those examples that you just cited.
Like on paper, if you had no idea what's going on and tell you this is who our leader is, I would say, fuck, man, this is an extremist fucking leader. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
How did this happen in Canada? I'm just putting it out there.
There's a comedian in Toronto named Ben Bankus.
Oh, yeah.
Who did a very funny Trudeau parody of the announcement where Trudeau was announcing about the electric cars, the EV facility, and where he's got the short sleeves, he's got the sleeves rolled up, and he's walking down the hallway. And, and
he's the one that does the Olivia Chow.
Olivia Chow,
right?
yeah. Those
What's
are
his
so
name?
good.
Ben Bankus?
Yeah, I'll send you the Olivia Chow ones are the best. Olivia Chow is the new. How new is she as mayor of Toronto?
Less than a year, I think.
Yeah.
When did they have?
Is he on TikTok?
And my son Charlie told me that Ben Bankus has had some venues have
banned him,
canceled shows because of they've basically bowed to backlash. But he's so funny. If I send you a direct message, Poseidon, can you bring it up?
Hold on, is this the one you're talking about?
I'm doing the old man thing. Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah, play that. That's very funny, and I'm going to find the Olivia Chow one because
I'm going to find it. Don't worry, I'm on his TikTok.
Okay.
The Olivia Chow is with the Toronto Maple Leafs making the playoffs.
Yeah, she's wearing a Toronto Maple.
Bet big on electric vehicles. And we think that in a few years, everybody's going to be driving an electric vehicle, except they're like $90,000. Most of the people who are in Canada are actually Indian people who live off one Uber Eats delivery an hour. So Listen, folks, if you're not driving an EV in the winter and getting stuck in the snow and not being able to charge it,
I like the lisp.
then you're doing something wrong. Why would you want one of those big gas guzzlers when you can have one of these sexy, sleek, homosexual vehicles that track your every movement and can be shut off by the government at any moment if we deem your behavior inappropriate? My name is Justin Trudeau, and I stand for anything that people think is gay.
Isn't that great?
I like this guy.
Oh, he's great.
I like this guy a lot.
He's just great. I just sent you the Olivia Chow one.
Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Don't worry, it's on TikTok.
Probably, yeah. He's.
When was this? Do you remember?
It was in the about 2 weeks ago. It was when the playoffs began. When the Leafs
posts this one.
It's not
That's
that
funny,
one,
but it's not that one.
Yeah, it's not the one where she's talking about her rain tax. She imposed a rain tax. It's not on. I just sent it to you in a direct message on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter. Yeah,
on Twitter.
Yeah. What was the rain tax she imposed?
I have no idea.
She imposed something.
This is the first time I hear of this.
She imposed a rain tax. Like if it rains a certain amount, then you get taxed.
For what?
Well, I guess for what it costs them to arrange for the runoff of the rain or something.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, it was just it was really fucking stupid, and he really went to town on it. He's very, very funny. I was looking at his tour. He played Montreal last year, and his current tour schedule does not bring him to Montreal. The closest he comes is Syracuse, New York. I'd love to go see him because he's going to get.
He's Canadian, right?
He's Canadian, yeah, and he's going to become popular enough that comedy clubs are going to be too small for him. He's going to start playing theaters and arenas, and that's it. I'd like to see him in a club.
Yeah, it's better the club, eh?
Oh yeah, yeah. The dynamic is so much better.
Okay.
Ready?
Oh wait.
Volume. I don't have volume.
Once again, the hope is on the rise for Toronto Maple Leafs.
What happened? Why did it stop?
I don't know.
It's bugging.
Hope is on the rise for Toronto Maple Leafs. We are playing the Boston Bruins in the first round.
What the fuck is happening?
Henry Caprano. I don't know much about the hockey other than they use a chop to hit the puck. But it's going to be hard for Torontonian to afford to go to the game because of all the rain tax. So if you can afford to go, maybe take me with you. Go, Reef, go!
Isn't that great? Yeah, we should watch the other one that you had up before, Poseidon, where she's wearing the red dress. They're both funny. He's too fucking funny, right? and it's so funny that I've seen little, if any. That's racist because it's just too fucking funny. It's too funny.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, funny's funny, man.
And the mayor of Toronto, Olivia Chow, joins me now in studio. Mayor, thanks for coming in.
Ni hao.
It's been almost a year since John Tory stepped down as mayor, and you launched your campaign that would see you become the mayor of Canada's largest city. How would you assess your time so far at Toronto City Hall?
Well, have a wonderful time. All the people wrote all the tax that I make them pay. Oh, there's me on a bicycle. There's me get a necklace from a native people. We take that around and give it back. Oh, that's me. That's how I use a rubber. Everybody so upset about my new controversial tax where we tax on the rain. In China, it rain a cat and dog. Here, rain money, and I want to correct the money for all the poor people to buy the fentanyl and all the drug that I'm going to slowly make legal as we get rid of all the rich people.
Progress is slow, though. And the mayor of Toronto.
Isn't that funny? He's good. Oh, look at me on a bicycle.
Almost fucking choked. God, he's fucking funny.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Man.
Ben Bankus is his name. B-A-N-K-A-S.
I mean, Pantelis should know this guy. No, I think
He must.
I think I've heard him talk about him. We want to wrap up, but I found those overrated cities that you sent. You want to go on that and then finish?
Well,
or?
you know what? I didn't look at the whole list. I just thought it was interesting that the most overrated tourist destinations by city, and according to this one article and survey, and
Hold on, I'm going to bring it up.
I found it interesting that that Toronto came in at number 2. Bangkok. Ow! Bangkok, ow, was number 1.
So most overrated city, Bangkok.
As a tourist destination.
Yeah. Toronto.
But Toronto.
Tokyo, really? Tokyo overrated.
Tokyo number 3.
So we have number 1.
There you go.
Bangkok. Well,
Vegas, really? Overrated?
I've gone to Vegas once, and I wasn't blown away.
Right. Yeah.
What I liked about Vegas was
Oh my God, Toronto was second. Last
year.
They were second in 2022, and then in 2023 they dropped by 34.
Yeah, there was a huge. I don't know why, but there was
probably because of the crime. And the crime. Yeah,
big discrepancy year to year. But you know what? I heard someone was talking about Toronto the other day. I forget where I heard or saw this. I think it might have been watching one of the TV TV news networks, or it might have just been. I might have had a dream. Maybe I was high. I don't know. Anyway, someone was talking about my son Sam, who was a guest on this show last week. Yeah. Sam lives in Toronto. He loves it. He's never coming back. Toronto is it's the opposite of a great place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there. It's a great place to live, but you wouldn't want to visit there.
Yeah.
Whereas Montreal's kind of the opposite.
You don't want to live here, but you want to come visit.
You want to come visit, yeah. And I mean, we all live here, and I like living here, but I also recognize that the streets are a fucking mess. Construction, it's not run competently. Like Toronto's, I think, is run a lot better. As a municipality, even with you got the rain tax. Yeah, even with that, they don't have the infrastructure issues that we have. I think life it's expensive.
Yeah,
but I think that
I love Toronto.
Yeah, generally speaking, the city runs smoother than it does here. But when you visit there, you're not going to have nearly as much fun as you're going to have when you visit Montreal.
I think the fact that so this is how I feel. Anywhere I go, because I look at it as a tourist, I'm going to try and have fun. And unlike what you said, I enjoy visiting Toronto, but I wouldn't live there.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
I like visiting there. I lived there, but I haven't lived there for so many years that I couldn't speak credibly to it anymore.
And I think it's easier to judge the place that you live in because you're just used to it, and it's easy for you to find all the things that are wrong.
I've only been to 2 other cities on that list, I think.
I've been to Las Vegas. Overrated Las Vegas? No, it was fun. You can't stay too long in Las Vegas.
That's it. That's what somebody told me before I went there. They said, don't go for any more than 4 days.
Yeah, because you'll lose your goddamn mind and your savings.
I wonder why Amsterdam is considered overrated. I've been to Amsterdam. I haven't been there in a long time, but when I went, I loved it. Like mainly because I was still doing dope then and you could smoke hash at the hash bars.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at Dubai and Tokyo.
Yeah. Very modern cities, Dubai and Tokyo. For
sure.
And Seoul.
My brother he didn't live in Seoul. He lived in South Korea, but not in Seoul.
What does this say?
Geneva, Switzerland. I drove through Geneva, and it was like, man.
What does this say?
Does that say Rimini? Rimini?
Italy. Is that Italy?
I don't even know this city, bro.
Yeah, that's not one of your big Italian cities. I wonder how that even or why that even made the list.
You're right.
Let's Google it.
What did it say? No, go back one. Poseidon, it says most disappointing attraction. I wonder what.
The Fiabilandia.
I don't even know
whatever the fuck that means.
So they have the Khoisan Road. Why is that? Whoa. CN Tower, most disappointing attraction. I went.
I can agree with that, though. The CN Tower, I mean.
Big lineups. It's
why
expensive.
the fuck would you want to go there anyway?
And the price that they charge just to go up is.
What is it now?
Absolutely preposterous.
I don't know.
$55 last time I checked.
Yeah.
Just to go up, by the way.
Yeah.
What's this? Hachiko Monument, Dubai Aquarium, an underwater zoo, Red Fort, Dam Square.
What do they say in Amsterdam is Dam Square?
Yeah, the Dam Square.
Dam Square, yeah. You know what I liked about Amsterdam?
What?
most beautiful women I've ever seen in my
Really?
life. Yeah.
Really?
Dutch women. Yep. They're all of them tall and blonde and beautiful. The only problem was each one of them was on the arm of an even taller and better looking Dutch man.
Yeah, exactly.
So what chance did I have?
Oh, God. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. Every week you're here, and it makes us feel good. So if you do like what we do, head on over and subscribe to this channel. Go to patreon.com/Pantelis. Get yourself a subscription for exclusive content. Follow this fucking clown over here. The Poseidon69. I am Poseidon.com. You can check my stuff out at Politiquement Parlant if you know or understand French. And please go and follow Standing by the Terry and Ted podcast. Brand new season. Only the third episode
Yeah,
up.
don't forget to quit your job and watch episode 3 with Dr. Cleve Ziegler. It came out this morning. It's a great episode. Great episode.
There you go, guys. Thank you so much. Last note, June 4th, Pantelis' French Hour at the Bordel. So if you can go get tickets for that, he would appreciate that. Thank you all so very much. We'll see you all next week.
Patreon.com/Pantelis.